Welcome to the Windy City, Chicago, Illinois, the site for today's ball game between the Chicago Wildcats and the St. Louis Gladiators, with Gerald Smith on stats, Charles Doherty, my analyst. I am your play-by-play commentator, Cameron Irvine. Welcome to Chicago, Charles.
Oh, it's great to be here. We got a great game tonight. St. Louis is coming into Wildcats' den, facing a red-hot Chicago team. They're on a 4-0 tear after losing their first two games. St. Louis has been up and down this season, coming off a loss last week against Vancouver, where their St. Louis offense couldn't find the end zone. St. Louis is going to need to have a perfect game to get this game, get a W on the road, and Chicago is going to fight tooth and nails to keep their winning streak going. The only way we're going to settle this, Cam, is on the field. Let's go.
To pull a Matt Wilson line, the only way to settle this is on the field, as St. Louis will call heads at midfield. Gladiators, a very efficient bunch, 2-4. They have struggled, though, much more so on the road than at home. This is a big test for these Gladiators, and that number one pick, Johnny Pickler. And Chicago will defer. Your final thoughts before kickoff?
Well, I think both teams are going to need to protect their quarterback. They're both at the bottom of the league in sacks allowed. St. Louis is going to have an absolutely huge game out of Diesel Dawson to get the win. And if any mistake the Chicago makes on offense, St. Louis is going to have to capitalize and put points on the board.
Settle in, the 2-4 Gladiators, the 4-2 Wildcats. Week 7 is underway in the SFL, and Anthony Cece's got that ball on the tee, and let's go. Kick it. We're underway. This return by Chase Earl from the goal line, and Earl past the 20 out to the 24. Charles, he's been a sensational rookie, 3 touchdowns in his last 4 games.
Yeah, you got to keep an eye on that guy. He's dangerous as a receiver, but he's also dangerous as a kick returner. He's got 2 touchdowns in the this season, and that's number 1.
Johnny Pickler, the starting quarterback for St. Louis, number 1 overall pick. And he is on pace to have the least amount of interceptions by a quarterback, especially a rookie, in quite some time. 1st and 10 at the 24. He's going to be sacked on the first play. A loss of 3. Buddy Blaze comes in and makes the play at his defensive end spot.
No time whatsoever for Pickler to get that ball off. I mean, that was literally like one Mississippi, and he's down in the dirt. The offensive line is going to have to do a lot better than that first play.
3 receivers, 2 to the left of Pickler. Nickel look for Chicago on a 2nd and 13. Chicago in the all blacks with the silver helmets today. Pickler going long. It's caught in the air. What a grab at the 40-yard line by Sean Harrelson in his 8th SFL season.
Yeah, great catch by Harrelson. Looked like Chicago tried to send an extra man or two up against Pickler. This time the offensive line gave it the quarterback the time he needed, and got a great pass off to Harrelson.
How about Buddy Blaze, signed in week 5 and gets the sack there on the first play of the game. Going back a couple of plays later, Diesel Dawson on the carry picks up 7. And let's meet the rest of this St. Louis offense. Diesel Dawson at running back. We mentioned Pickler, Harrelson. Nick Finch catches everything that goes his way. Chase Earl, the rookie receiver. Tight end Cody Scott. You know, the St. Louis defense, they have a ton of talent on that defensive side and are relying on Pickler to carry the load.
Yeah, definitely Pickler, but we're going to have a couple scoops at Dawson as well, I think.
Hand off to Dawson on his 2nd carry of the day. Got a first down past the 45 to the 40. A.J. Barnes saves a touchdown, but Dawson gets the ball to the Chicago 38 and a strong start for St. Louis.
Love watching Dawson run the ball. He's one of those running backs that doesn't avoid impact at all. It's almost like once he crosses that tackle and he gets on the outside, he's looking for somebody to knock out.
3 receivers, 2 off the right side, and the handoff goes to Dawson. Dawson will pick up 2, and that will take us to introducing the Chicago defense. A.J. Barnes leads the way in his 9th season. Gerald Giudice, Raymond James III, guys to keep an eye on the line. Linebackers, number 59, Clint Hendershot, number 96, Blake Craze, 2 of the best in the business. Cornerbacks, number 20, Greg Gaines, number 26, Jesse Vick, and your safeties, Maurice Spurgeon and Ron Hoff, help Barnes in the secondary. 2nd down and 8 at the 35. Pickler dropping to pass, and he'll fire it out near side, caught by Harrelson again. That tackle on the end of the play made by Ron Hoff, and that'll set up a 3rd down and 3. They say in Chicago, don't hassle the Hoff.
Yeah, don't hassle the Hoff. That's funny. Yeah, it looks like the offensive line is starting to settle in and give some time for the quarterback there in a very manageable 3rd and short here.
3rd and 3 at the 31. St. Louis in scoring position on their opening drive out of the eye. 7 in the box for Chicago, including what looks like a safety that's going to creep down. Backs off in coverage. Pickler will dump it off. Race to the sticks. The fullback not going to get there. Excellent tackle made by Jesse Vick. And the 2-yard pickup belongs to the fullback Trellis Blanton, who was signed in week 2. And on 4th and 1, what do you do here?
You punt it. you gotta punt it because it's going to be hard to get any 4th and short yards gain against the Chicago defense.
On the 28 of Chicago, they elect not to punt or go for the field goal at the moment. The offense stays out on the field. Pickler's got 3 in the backfield. That's the formation you want, but St. Louis is running out of time trying to get Chicago to jump. Chicago will stay disciplined, and the Gladiators will take a timeout and trot on the kicker, Judah Dorgan, who was signed in week 4.
I totally spaced on where the ball was. I would have said
that's I helped you out.
Thanks, partner. It's like, why did you say that?
Johnny Pickler on the first drive, 3 for 3 for 27 yards. Harrelson caught 25 of those yards. Dawson, 21 yards on 3 carries, and Dorgan will come out to try to put the first points on the board.
Yeah, this is big. Every time they get a shot to put points up on the board, they're going to need to capitalize on it.
Well, a tremendous opening drive from St. Louis. Just to even be in this opportunity, they got to feel that's got to calm some nerves a bit here in Chicago. 45-yard field goal is up and through for St. Louis. So the Gladiators get the game's first points, and we're off and running.
Yeah, that was a very impressive drive and capped off by that solid field goal by Dorgan.
Well, there's a couple of names for this this battle between St. Louis and Chicago. You've got the Midwest rivalry. You've got the Pizza Wars, Chicago and St. Louis style pizza. Do you have a particular favorite type of pizza involved in this
I've
game?
recently discovered Detroit style pizza.
Detroit style pizza. That's another one. That's a good one as well. From the 9-yard line on the return, Davius Reed. I was looking back through the archives before the game started and was mesmerized by a punt return Davius Reed had against the then Cleveland Stallions. It's a tremendous return, and he's got that capabilities now out of retirement. E.T. King is the quarterback for Chicago in his 7th season.
You were mesmerized, huh?
I was. It was a beautiful return. 6'5", 230 for King. Both receivers to the left. King will drop to throw. We'll check it down to Ash Odom, and Ash Odom is clobbered after only a gain of 1. And let's meet the Chicago offense, rather. E.T. King in his 7th season, along with Ash Odom and Mike Improda in the backfield. Receivers, number 10, Corey Carter. Number 18, Davius Reed. Number 89, J.C. Torres. The tight end, number 88, Shan Varner. Got to watch out for him. And Anthony Cece is your kicker. Number 2 is his jersey number. 2nd and 9, handoff to Odom. Odom blasts through a few, picks up 7. And let's meet the St. Louis Gladiator defense. And it is a hefty unit. Colin Douglas leads the troops in his 8th season. On the line, Todd Dubstat, Tony Roberto, Shane Masters, and Franco Sonati. Ones to look out for. One of the best lines in the league. Linebackers Mark Gronick, Chuck Diesel outside and inside respectively. Evan Arthur, Drew Riley, Freeman Peltier, and Nathan Blake also help out in the secondary. And Odom will not get the first down. A combo tackle made by Nathan Blake and Mark Gronick to force a 4th and 1 for Chicago on their opening possession.
Yeah, St. Louis defense, and one of the things that impresses me, we played them last week, is their closing speed. The linebackers in the secondary, they get to the ball very quickly.
5:55 to go in the first quarter. 3-0 St. Louis. They have the early lead here early in Chicago as the punt is away from Mickey McGuire, who was signed just this week to Chicago. First punt with a hang time of 4.2. St. Louis will start from their 32 on their second possession. You're watching the Simulation Football League on 11 Sports and For the Fans, and we'll be back to Chi-Town in a moment.
First and 10.
5:43 to go in the first quarter. First down and 10 at the 32 for the Gladiators, who get a field goal on their first possession and then manage to get a stop here on the road. Dawson takes the carry and cannot pick up anything. And we were talking about this rivalry before the break. The last time these teams, they played 6 times, Charles, but the last time they played was September 30th, 2018, and that was a crazy game where St. Louis had a chance to tie the game at the end of regulation, and it hit the crossbar and missed.
Right.
Part of the disappointing Gladiators run, and Chicago went on to make the playoffs. Second down and 10 at the 33. Here comes Dawson up the middle there, off right tackle, or off the left side tackle, I should say. Picks up 8, 3rd and 2.
Yeah, Dawson is Pickler's best friend right now, the way he's been running the ball. He's setting them up for very, very safe third down conversions.
3rd down and 2 at the 41-yard line. So far, St. Louis failed to convert their lone 3rd down. 2 backs and 2 receivers. Hand off to Dawson up the middle, and Dawson trying to run against that nickel look that Chicago loves to employ. Just does get it across the line. Charles, I've never seen a team run so much of one particular set like Chicago runs with this nickel, and it's so effective.
It's so effective. And, you know, they've got 4 rookies on the line there between Blaze Fountain, Giudice, and Jones, and they're really meshing pretty well for 4 rookies. It's an impressive job they're doing.
High formation for Pickler. 2 receivers, 1 to either side. Hand off to Dawson, and Dawson is smashed by the linebacking duo of Clint Hendershot and Blake Craze. And it's one of my favorite debates every year, Charles. Who's the best 1-2 punch at linebacker? And they got my early vote.
Yeah, I'm biased, so I was going to say Bash Brothers.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Over in Vancouver, they play tomorrow night here on FTF and 11 Sports against Las Vegas. Flip outside to Dawson, picks up 2. So Pickler starts 4 for 4, and you can see, you know, even though he's a rookie, he's just got tons of composure in that pocket, and he's really hasn't necessarily let it loose yet, Charles, but having a very effective rookie season.
And he bounced back from that sack on the first play. I mean, he's hanging in there pretty solidly.
2 receivers to either side. Quick throw for Pickler out of the slot. Tried to catch Hendershot off guard, and Hendershot makes the play. Making the catch is Cameron Shaw, who was also just signed this week. And we've seen a couple of players now recently signed already here in this first quarter, making a huge impact.
Yeah, I can safely say that they're probably going to punt on this one. Okay.
Yeah, on a 4th down and 3, it's that's a foregone conclusion. That punt is away from the 19-yard line. Chicago on the return, and when we come back, we'll tell you how you can go from couch to field when the SFL's Week 7 slate continues. You're watching the SFL on 11 Sports and For the Fans. 2:45 to go in the first quarter. Chicago's got the ball back in a very competitive game here early on in this beautiful Sunday afternoon from Illinois. Wildcats looking for their first move of the chains of the day. Trips to the left of King. Nickel look for St. Louis. They implore it often as well, as that pass is tipped up and incomplete, knocked away by Blake. For those of you viewing for the first time, what are you watching? The Simulation Football League is the first controllerless esport, allowing you, the viewer, to participate in all the action on the field without a controller in your hands. Visit simulation.football for details on how to get started with a team and in the league. Nice knockdown by Blake.
Yeah, very nice knockdown. I think that is a difficult pass to get out there. Not a lot of room to get the ball into the receiver's hands.
2:41 to go in the first quarter. You know, the chat shows you no mercy. When I was talking about Hendershot and Craze as the best linebacking duo, now all of the linebackers are in there telling me, stating their case. Very good cases with that. That pass into coverage is incomplete, intended for Shan Varner. Again, good coverage down the field by St. Louis, and King has started 1 for 3 for 1 yard and a 3rd down and 10 again.
Well, Cam, every now and then you have to poke the hornet's nest.
That definitely is a hornet's nest.
Yeah, I've felt the sting so far.
3rd and 10 at the 23-yard line. 2:38 to go in the first quarter. Chicago trying to get a first down for the first time today, and King just throws it away. You can see blanket coverage down the field, and King looks very uncomfortable here in the first quarter, surprisingly here at home for Chicago, trying to get to 5-2.
Yeah, it doesn't help that the pocket was falling apart as well. That was good pressure put on it by the 4-down lineman of St. Louis. He had to, you notice he had to roll out a little bit as the pocket was collapsing.
So a 4th down punt upcoming here for Chicago. And a fair catch called for by the return man Earl at the 41. You know, they haven't gotten a sack just yet, Charles, but we did some heavy-duty digging on this St. Louis defensive front and the St. Louis team in terms of the amount of sacks that they've been able to compile. And this is just amongst their star players. They have 18 sacks. That's 3rd best in the SFL.
Yeah, and Shane Masters, who is the leader on that line, welcomes the other 3 guys because they're definitely bringing some pain to the game.
Pickler going long on a deep out, and it's caught. Getting the toes in on the far sideline is Nick Finch as he gets up and has some choice words for Vic, laying all his body weight on top of him.
Yeah, that was a veteran pass right there. I mean, like we said on that previous play on the Chicago side, not a lot of room to get the ball in there, but Pickler was able to rifle it in.
8 carries, 37 yards for Dawson to start. Pickler is 6 for 6 for 46 yards. 2 backs and 2 receivers. Handoff goes to Dawson. Dawson up the middle. Dawson past the 35 to the 34, his longest run of the day, 11 yards, and now 48 yards on 9 carries for Diesel.
Yeah, nice. That was a pure power run up the middle. Somebody's got to, when you touch him like that, you're going to have to bring him down because he's going to keep running and running. It's going to take at least 2 or 3 guys to bring him down.
Hoff and Gaines on the tackle. Charles, the environmentalists don't like the St. Louis Gladiators. Do you know why?
I'll go with it.
I don't. They got a lot of Diesel. Dawson and Chuck Diesel involved in this squad as Harrelson gets the first. Check that. Finch gets the first down up to the 21. Jesse Vick has been busy, but Finch has had his number, and St. Louis is near the red zone.
Yeah, so far Pickler's looking really good there, and that's not good for the Chicago secondary.
First down at the 21. This Gladiator attack. Pickler 7 of 7 for 59 yards. Has not been sacked. QBR of 102. 1:18 to go in the first quarter. Out of the shotgun, Dawson to Pickler's right. 7 in the box for Chicago. Pickler fires it, and it's nearly intercepted. Craze just able to get that right paw out there to swat that away, and that's the first incompletion of the day for St. Louis.
Yeah, dodged a bullet there. He had wide open path there into the end zone if he would have held on to that.
Chat shoutouts, Shacker3, Coach Craven, Crazy H 2000, the Johnny 2K, Dags 83, Sports Fan 39, Mike Improta, Ronman 6684, Redskins Nation 66, and many others in the chat with us today. Twitch.tv/FTF Next if you want to join the conversation as Dawson gets the flip out for a pickup of 5, and Greg Gaines comes over to make the play, the former Oklahoma City Renegade, third down.
Yeah, big stop. Big stop. I mean, that's what they need to do against when the running back catches the ball out of the field, show that quick closing speed and bring him down.
Keeps in mind, Vancouver Legion also in the chat. 45 seconds to go in the first quarter. 4 receivers for Pickler. Nickel look for Chicago's defense. Pickler will fire it outside, and he just needed a little bit more oomph on that throw as Chase Earl, the intended target, gets it knocked away from Ron Hoff, and St. Louis will it will appear they'll have to settle for 3 once more.
Yeah, I hate to say it, but I think Pickler needs to hold on to the ball a little bit longer because it almost looks like Chicago's starting to get a good feel for where his passes are going.
Yeah, they're starting to settle into those soft zones where, where those throws have been going most of the day. This is going to be a 33-yard field goal. The clock stopped at 37 seconds to go in the first. This kick is up and through once more for Judah Dorgan, now 2 for 2 on the day.
So far, St. Louis has a pretty. They've been executing their game plan pretty effectively. I'm sure they wanted to be in the end zone a little bit more, but Chicago hasn't really had an answer on offense.
Visit Sector6Apparel.com for all league and team apparel, including hoodies, t-shirts, team jerseys, and more. Sector 6, the official apparel provider of the SFL. Kick deep to Reed. He'll stand at his 9. On the return past the 25, Reed tried to cut it back to the right, and St. Louis has a slew of bodies in the vicinity. 1st and 10 at the 29, and baby steps. Charles, Chicago just needs a first down.
Yep, and Chicago needs to get past that 50. I don't believe they've been. They've had 2 possessions, and they've had to punt both times.
29 seconds to go. Good stat in the chat. St. Louis has gone 5 quarters without an offensive touchdown. They've struggled on the road, and Shan Varner gets open deep all the way to the St. Louis 34-yard line. A pickup of about 43 on the play for the first down.
Yeah, Varner was wide open on that. I'm not sure. Maybe there was a missed coverage there by by a linebacker or a safety, but he was wide open. Beautiful throw by E.T. King as well.
Peltier saves the touchdown, and Chicago will not break the huddle. They will let the first quarter expire. End of 1. St. Louis owns the quarter, but Chicago now owns the field position. We're back to the Thunderdome after this commercial break. Start of the second quarter here from Chicago. St. Louis has the early lead in the 7th meeting between these two franchises all time. They have split those 3 meetings. 1st and 10 at the 34 off the first move of the change of the day for Chicago. A long bomb to Varner. King will stand. It gets popped up in the air. King comfortable in the pocket, but tried to thread the needle a little bit too tightly to J.C. Torres. That pass swatted away by Diesel.
Definitely a big test here for the St. Louis defense. Chicago's on the right side of the 50. They're pushing into the red zone area. Let's see if St. Louis defense can hold them.
Second down. King in the shotgun. 3 receivers for Chicago on the right side, and King will take the shotgun pass, flip it outside to Odom. Odom gets rid of one defender, but then Diesel comes in to clean up the mess. Only a pickup of 3. Charles Ash Odom has more catches than just about anybody in this league. In fact, number 1 in the league in receptions with 52 coming in. Dawson is number 2 with 46.
Yeah, both running backs are highly involved in the passing game, for both teams.
And haven't seen a lot of running out of Chicago either here on 3rd down and 7, just out past the 30. Got to turn the corner, and Corey Carter does. Carter gets to the 22. Beautiful route and a pickup of 9 for Carter to keep the drive alive.
Yeah, beautiful route by Carter, but also impressed on what he does after he catches the ball. I mean, that was a good move to get him past the chains.
10 minutes to go here in the first half. Again, nickel look from St. Louis. King flips it outside. Odom all by himself, but has a lot of space to the top of the screen. Picks up 8 to the 14-yard line.
A lot of space as well. I think we're going to be seeing a lot more of that swing pass action to Odom. It's going to be hard to stop because of his speed and what he can do after he catches the ball.
Busy day on FTF and 11 Sports. Atlanta and Seattle comes your way next at 4 o'clock Eastern. Then at 6 o'clock Eastern, it's Queen City and Mexico City. You got the Spring League from Frisco, Texas, just right down the road. That'll be on after us at 8 Eastern. And then Sioux Falls and New Orleans will wrap up the busy day of football on the network at 10:30 Eastern as Odom gets another first down. Chicago clicking now in the red zone.
Yeah, I can feel the offense starting to get into a rhythm here.
King now 5 of 9, 57 yards. That was just Odom's 3rd carry. 10 yards on the ground today. Odom, carry number 4, gets 5 to the 7, and he makes 5 yards look easy.
The defensive line leading up to that one long pass that got him past the 50. I think the defensive line isn't getting as much penetration as they have been. Whatever adjustment they were doing on that offensive line, it sure is working out well.
Improta's right behind King in this formation. Odom off to the left. 2nd and 5 of the 7. Improta gets a nice block up the middle, but Odom kind of got caught up behind him. Maybe got a half a yard on the play, and Diesel's there again to make the stop.
So here we go, 3rd and 5. This could be the turning point of the game, I think. I mean, if Chicago gets this first down and puts it in the end zone, I think the momentum is clearly going to swing over on the Chicago side.
8:18 to go in the first half. This drive's been almost 3 minutes. They've had the ball the entire second quarter thus far. King flips it out, and Reed turns the corner for the touchdown. The defender who was in the area, we'll get a look at it on the replay, went for the pick or the swat down, misjudged it, and got out of position.
Yeah, misjudges still. Reed had a great route run, and this is his first receiving touchdown of the season. Congratulations.
That was Drew Riley on the coverage, and Reed making things happen for the Chicago offense to put the Wildcats on the board, and this extra point from CeCe would give them the lead.
Yeah, impressive drive there, impressive series by Chicago, capping it off with that touchdown.
Extra point for CeCe is up and good, and Chicago for the first time today has the advantage in the ball game. Good game. Lots of low-scoring contests here. We've already had 4 games in the books here in Week 7. Our first on television this week is this one. But Charleston gets a couple of pick sixes. They improve to 6-1, applying pressure on Vancouver at the top of the standings, and to Atlanta as well, who will play next, also at 5-1. We also had earlier today Carolina getting a 20-12 victory over London at home. They stopped the Knights offense at the 1-yard line. First and goal at the 1. They pulled the Seahawks. They passed 3 times in a row, and Zane Doty broke the interception record, now has 12, and we're only 7 weeks into the season.
That's just insane. But you think offensive coordinators would learn not to throw to him after that?
Yesterday, Arizona got their second win, beating Florida 17-14 in a defensive affair. And then Denver took out Tulsa with 7 field goals in a 21-13 victory. Jackman now 14-14 on the season. Dawson gets that 3-yard carry, and Judas Sessi brings him down.
Yeah, also had some help there. I believe it was Raymond Jones slowed him down at the line. Didn't bring him down, but slowed him down just enough for Judas Sessi to close it.
2nd down and 7 at the 26. 3 backs in the backfield now for Pickler in the offense. Pickler's cooled off just a bit, but still 8 of 10 for 64 yards. Hand off to Dawson behind a couple of blockers. Breaks a tackle. There goes Dawson, 40, 45, 50. Dawson with 2 men to beat, trying to chase him down. Gaines misses the tackle, and then all the way to the 26-yard line. Finally, Ron Hoff saves the touchdown, and Dawson is now 1 short of a hundy.
That's the way to answer back from that touchdown drive by Chicago. Very powerful run there by Dawson. He got through at least three or four defenders, and then just almost took it to the house. But that was a great last-second tackle there by 23 Ron Hoff.
Bruce C. getting the block deep down the field off left tackle, and now Pickler will go empty with 4 wide after Dawson's monumental gain that nearly got him to the century mark. Pickler changes the play at the line. He'll fire an out route at the top of the screen. One-handed pull-in is caught by Harrelson, his 3rd catch of the day.
I think Dawson needed a rest after that one play. I think they had to go to empty backfield on that one.
But great play call. Give your running back a break and give him a 2nd down and manageable.
Definitely. Off
the 4-yard completion. 2nd down and 6. It looks like Dawson might actually still be out here, so the running back in the backfield gets the handoff, gets the 1st down, and that is Sweet Pete Kissinger with the 1st down of the 12. How about that?
Sweet Pete.
That's amazing. I think that's his first SFL carry ever.
What a great
Look at that run.
What a great name.
He is hearkening back there to the Park Hee-Chol days. We don't see a lot of running backs with that size in the SFL, and he made it worth St. Louis's while to the 12-yard line, and Dawson back in. 6:13 to go in the first half, and St. Louis is back in the red zone. Pickler in some trouble, flips it outside, and Dawson, they are going to give him a catch, and he extended the ball out to the 11-yard line, 1-yard pickup.
Yeah, that was the only option that Pickler had. That was good penetration by the front line on Chicago's side.
And Dwayne Schindler, co-owner of St. Louis, telling me in the chat that Kissinger's actually gotten some touchdowns in his days, and I don't recall them, but there's a lot of games going on in the SFL.
I wonder if Sweet is his legal name.
I don't know, but his run was pretty sweet as Dawson picks up a nickel and gets it to the 6, averaging 8.6 yards a carry.
Big test for both sides here. The defense has got to hold on to that momentum, and this is Pickler's got to show that he's got the goods and get it in the end zone here.
Halfway through the 2nd quarter, each team's only had the ball once. 3 receivers to the short side left. Pickler's in the gun. Nickel look for Chicago's defense. Back to pass. Johnny into the end zone, into the shadows. It's caught off the deflection for a touchdown. The receiver just waiting for it, and it's Cameron Shaw in his first game. Look at the heads-up play by Shaw there to make the play and score the touchdown for St. Louis.
Yeah, the football gods are smiling on St. Louis on that play. That if they ran that play 100 times, there'd only be probably 2 times that would end up that way.
What a tremendous play by Shaw. as that ball was thrown into heavy traffic, and Pickler ends up getting the score. Dorgan's extra point for St. Louis is on its way, and good. And the Gladiators have scored 3 times on 4 possessions halfway through the second quarter. You're watching the Simulation Football League on 11 Sports and for the fans, and we'll be back to Chicago after these messages. .5:21 to go in the first half, and St. Louis on a miracle deflection gets the touchdown. Pickler 11 of 13, 75 yards and a score in the first quarter. And we were talking in the break, Charles, about how the defender, not sure if he would have been able to get 2 hands on it, but it kind of reminded me of a Hail Mary from that other league a long time ago involving a team from Texas and Florida where the guy just knocked it down right into the hands of the receiver for the victory, and that was very similar.
Yeah, that wasn't much of a knockdown. That was a knockover into the other guy's hands.
4 receivers now for King. He's going to go empty. They run some slants and then an out route top of the screen, and J.C. Torres is all alone. I think St. Louis was expecting Torres to run inside as well, and these quarterbacks, neither one of them have a pick in the first half, and both of them have been pretty efficient.
Well, so far, both offenses have finished up 70-plus yard drives, resulting in touchdowns. So looks like the game's starting to open up a bit. Let's see how Chicago responds to this.
2nd and 1 at the 40, and they're going to throw. King outside, caught by Varner, who runs a rare route to the outside and skirts out of bounds at the 45.
It looks like King is starting to get rid of the ball a lot quicker than he did at the beginning of the first quarter. I guess he's learning that defensive line of St. Louis isn't going to give him the time he needs.
4:40 to go in the second quarter. St. Louis trying to improve to 3-4. Handoff to Odom. Odom has plenty of space. Ash Odom trying to beat Peltier, breaks a tackle, breaks another, and Ash Odom is going into the end zone for a touchdown. Boy, oh boy, what a run from number 22.
He just took the slot away from Diesel Dawson as the best run of the night. That was impressive. There's like 3 times it looked like he was going down.
Watch him right here. After the defender gets knocked over, the presence of mind from Odom to leap over him. Otherwise, he could have gotten tripped up on the play, would not have scored. Here's another look at it.
Definitely the play of the game so far.
Right there, just steps over really. And then Odom just really fast.
Back and forth, Cam.
Starting to open up. It's a good one. Last time these two teams met, it was a very defensive ball game, but a ton of points so far here today. Extra point up and good, and Chicago has a 14-13 lead. Wow, this is interesting. St. Louis get the ball back. They've got 3 scores on 4 drives. Chicago has 2 scores on 4 drives, 3 punts, no turnovers here this afternoon. Dawson and Odom have combined for 173 yards rushing, and the 2 quarterbacks have combined for 162 yards passing.
Yeah, I don't think that St. Louis is going to win the game if they get into a shootout with Chicago. I think they're going to need to slow things down and take control of the time of possession.
Earl on the return out to the 22, and that's where St. Louis will begin possession number 5. If you're new to the SFL, get your spot in the SFL Minor League, SFLM, today to #claim your spot and begin your SFL career. Subscriptions are going fast, and the inaugural kickoff begins in April. First Pro subscribers get first priority on choosing their position, so don't delay your career another second. We can't wait for you to hashtag make an impact. Johnny Pickler on first down has a clean pocket. Fires it middle of the field. That's caught for a first down by Scott. Nearly picked up a first.
Yeah, St. Louis is dangerous when they have that two tight end package. It's hard for that. It's hard to cover. I mean, when they go into that slant route, you really don't know. You don't have enough defenders out there, I think, to cover what they have on the field.
Going back to the minor league, we'll be unveiling the first cities, coaches, and players on rosters later this week. Dawson breaks a couple tackles and then gets put down by Spurgeon. I know everybody's excited for the minor league to get going and to see all these rookies on the field and actually be able to get some tape on them before the draft.
Yeah, I can't wait to hear more about it.
3.5 left. Dawson, well over 100 now, gets another first down for St. Louis at the 37-yard line. 3:20 to play in the first half. Handoff Dawson on a slow developing play, and look at Chicago extend that all the way outside. Gains the primary stopper of Dawson on that one.
Yeah, there was a whole host of Chicago defenders on there. They played it perfectly. They closed up all the lanes, and Dawson had nowhere to go.
QBR of 119 now for Pickler, up to 83 yards. It is a methodical offense, ball control offense for this Gladiator team, probably more so than any other team in the league. Maybe Charleston also in that category, as Dawson picks up a few to the 42-yard line to set up a 3rd down and 5. They are just 1 for 5 on 3rd down.
Let's see if Chicago sits back on this to try to have Pickler throw into coverage, or if they put some pressure on him.
3rd down's kind of been the enemy of both these squads. They combined 2 for 9. When they're not in 3rd down, they've been able to move the ball. But on 3rd down, both defenses have been able to clamp down pretty nicely. Nickel look for Chicago. 3 receivers, 2 to the top of the screen, right side of Pickler. Pickler back to pass. He'll fire it slant middle. Caught! First down to the 49. I am not sure how Chase Earl came down with that football, but St. Louis near midfield with the move of the chains.
Yeah, I honestly thought that Hendershot and Barnes were all over that receiver, and there's no way. I didn't think there was any way for Earl to catch that.
2-minute warning from Chicago. St. Louis on a drive, down 1. You're watching the Simulation Football League on 11 Sports and For the Fans. Two minutes left in the first half. Welcome back, the St. Louis Gladiators, Chicago Wildcats. You're watching the Simulation Football League, Week 7 of a 12-week regular season. 10 of the 20 teams make the playoffs. Handoff to Dawson, and Dawson going to be tackled for a loss. Charles, I think that's our first tackle for loss of the day.
Yeah, it looks, and that last takedown they had of Diesel was close, but I agree. I think this is the first TFL.
Not often you see a game go a whole half without a tackle for loss, and that just goes to show you how efficient these offenses have been today. Pickler on a 2nd down and 12, fires it out. Oh, Finch is hurt. Did you see him grabbing? He was grabbing his leg there.
He blew out a hammy.
Either a hammy or a cramp, or hopefully it's not something even more serious like an ACL. Although Finch, is he walking back to the huddle? Maybe he just stepped on a thumbtack out there.
Yeah. All those thumbtacks on the football field.
No, he's not out there. And it's actually going to be one more at the bottom of the screen. 3rd and 12 for St. Louis. That would be a huge loss to not have Finch. Pickler on his first 3rd and long hit as he threw it. His incomplete gains jarred it loose after it looked like Harrelson was going to be able to come down with that catch.
That was all-star coverage by Greg Gaines. Look for a second there.
I thought he caught it.
I thought he caught it. But he disrupted that pass reception.
Jarred loose by the helmet. And then the hit. The end of the play, not too shabby either.
Yeah, I was going to say that Pickler's been pretty efficient with like an 86% completion rate, but the last couple passes have brought that down a little bit.
Yeah, 13 of 17 now for 91 yards, and Chicago's going to get a chance to expand on their lead before we go into the locker room. Ball at the 20. And look at Reed on the return past the 40. And it almost, again, the flashbacks almost dazzled us again on the punt return. A 20-yard return for Reed. Gets Chicago in excellent field position. Momentum really swinging now.
Now I know how it feels to be mesmerized.
Yeah. Although the other one was way better.
That's the best you got is yeah. God, I set that up for you perfectly.
Sometimes you even when you got a good hand, you say, you know what, I just fold.
I got nothing.
1:18 to go in the first half, 14-13. Chicago on top of St. Louis by 1. Dime 3-2 from St. Louis, and King will fire it out deep.
Great
It's
throw.
caught
Wow.
on a rope to the 41-yard line, lofting that up for Liam Hammer, who was signed in week 3, and here comes Chicago quickly. King to throw again. Again going long, and it's caught by Carter. Makes a man miss and really makes the tackle all the way down to the 14-yard line. And where has this come from E.T. King? He is now electric.
Yeah, I don't know if they saw a hole in the defense or if they had a heart-to-heart talk with King, but he has come out off the sidelines on fire.
Douglas and Peltier had a chance to get him, could not make the play. And plenty of time for Chicago. They got 2 timeouts, 57 seconds. They're only 14 yards away from the end zone.
They got to put some pressure on that quarterback. Too much time.
Again, out of the gun. They have been burning the Gladiators in the gun, especially here in the second quarter. King going in zone, into coverage. Oh, the offensive player plays defense. That's Varner.
That was smart.
At the end of that play, otherwise that would have been a surefire interception on the underthrown pass.
Yeah, that's a veteran move right there. That was a touchdown, interception-saving tackle.
Varner may have just scored 3 or maybe even 7 points for his squad, even if he doesn't make a play for the rest of this drive. And a key part of this game, Charles, is we're seeing a lot of shotgun, a lot of quick passes, trying to avoid that St. Louis pass rush that has really been largely ineffective so far today. Odom can knock it out of bounds, gets only to the 6. Has to rush all the way back to his position in the backfield.
They're going to give up the run if they do it up the middle. Well,
St. Louis for a goal line, looking for a goal line stand, and Masters gets the sack. First sack of the day for St. Louis.
yeah, first sack of the day. Masters is a force in the middle up there. This is his 8.5 sack for the season. Came just at the right time as well.
Mowed down E.T. King. And that makes things a little bit more complicated for the Wildcats. 32 seconds, and it's actually 4th down anyway. So that sack ends up getting St. Louis an extra possession here just before the half.
That was a big stand by St. Louis.
31-yard field goal for Anthony Cece. This should be no problem for him. The rookie 3rd-round pick has been money all season long for Chicago, and that doesn't change there. 4-point ball game, the largest lead of the day for Chicago.
Well, at this point, St. Louis doesn't, they don't need to panic. Don't try and push it down the field. I think too much and cause a mistake and give the ball back to Chicago so they can even make a wider gap there on the score.
Earl, the return man, does have 2 kick returns in the month of February, first day of March. CC will boot it away. From the 1. Earl on the return. Nice kick from CC. And actually, now it's Cameron Shaw with the shuffling of receivers due to the Nick Finch injury.
Right.
Receivers moving all over the field now, and Shaw is your returner. So that having a ripple effect
Definitely
on the St. Louis depth chart. First down and 10 at the 21. Pickler out of the gun. Got to see what he's got in terms of the formation. I think that's Earl on the bottom of the screen. This is Pickler to the top. Outside caught. Did he get out of bounds? No. Sean Harrelson on the reception.
I thought he got out.
I did too. And St. Louis is just going to take the lump and head to the locker room. Not too shabby of a half for St. Louis here on the road against a very tough opponent. But the Gladiators putting in work this week. Well, they did get the playoff. Dawson gets the first down, and that'll be the end of the first half. A good half by both squads, but Chicago takes a 17-13 lead into the break. One more look at that last play of the first half, and we'll take a look at stats and analysis. Well, initial impressions, Charles, of the first half?
Well, both offenses have been very efficient, not a lot of mistakes. I think the defense is trying to put as much pressure as they can on the quarterback, but the offensive line so far, I think each side has given up a sack. So they're holding in there. Again, these two teams are the last in the league in protecting their quarterback. So they've been holding up pretty well. I think St. Louis just needs to keep trying to be as methodical as they can when they get the ball. Don't try and score quick, and don't get into a shootout with Chicago.
Both teams over 200 yards at the break, and St. Louis has doubled up Chicago in time of possession. You had a note on time of possession earlier in this game.
Yeah, on their winning streak for Chicago, they've been winning. On average, they've been winning the time of possession since those first two games, the first two losses at the start of the season.
So obviously, St. Louis, part of their game plan is, look, you got to keep it out of their hands. I mean, look how dynamic they scored. They scored 17 points, had 200 yards in just a little over 7 minutes with the football.
Yeah, explosive. I mean, E.T. King is on fire. Let's see if he's still in flames when he gets back on the field after this half.
Almost all of that came exclusively in the second quarter as well. They hardly had the ball in the first. They only got the one first down there at the end of the first quarter. And so you take all of what they did in the first half, and really they did it all in one quarter.
It almost looks like they were trying to see what St. Louis would put on the field from a defensive standpoint, found some holes and exploited it.
There's a look one more time at the Odom run.
Play of the game right there so far.
Yep. That definitely busted this game open. You can think it gave Chicago a little bit of confidence. And, I think Varner did too. Settled his troops with that first deep ball down the middle of the field.
And that smart play in the end zone to stop that interception as well.
Pickler finishes the half 14 of 18 for 96 yards, a touchdown, no picks for QBR of 108. E.T. King's QBR 114.3 in that half. 72 yards on just 6 carries for Ash Odom, and Dawson got the ball 16 times for 113 yards. Also had 3 catches for 6 yards. So you wonder, Charles, if he's going to be a little worn down as this game enters into the fourth quarter. Chicago will get the ball to start the third.
Yeah, keep your star halfbacks in the game, even if they're worn down.
But of course, Sweet Pete Kissinger.
Yeah, you can't forget Sweet Pete.
He had one carry that was pretty impressive. Reed on the return out to the 28-yard line. So that's where Chicago will set it up. If St. Louis wins this game today, it'll be their 20th franchise win. If Chicago wins this game, it'll be their 40th franchise win. So either way, somebody's going to hit a milestone today.
Cam, we called a game with Chicago where Odom went down. Remember Bovino? The game of Bovino?
Yes, I do.
So they both have some solid backups.
King will throw again. King is pressured, beating his man off the line for a 7-yard loss. That's Franco Sonati, who got shaken up last week in the loss.
That was a big time rush up the middle. The guard had no chance against Sonati, and this is his 5.5. How do you say that? 5.5 sacks in the season. Let's just say that.
5.5 sack.
Yeah.
2nd and 17 at the 21 now. Difficult situation for the Wildcats offense. Handoff goes to Odom, and Odom gets all the yardage back and then some. A 9-yard gain. There's the update on Finch, but we're not going to get to see it. Odom up to 79 yards, so the Finch remains a mystery.
Well, that's what a star running back can do. He can take up half of those yards on the sack in one run, so it's quite the luxury to have.
4 receivers, 2 to either side for King, 5 in the box for the Gladiators, and E.T. King hits Corey Carter again over the middle to the Chicago 48. Wildcats offense has certainly found its rhythm.
That was a great route. I mean, that was right in the, it looked like it was right in the middle of the zones. Yeah, there wasn't anyone on him until he caught the ball.
It's not even really a post, is it? It's kind of
No.
like a deep in from
right.
Carter. It's working for him. 1st and 10 at the Chicago 48. 3 receivers to the left of King. And it looks like man coverage here from St. Louis. King flips it outside, and again, it looked like Carter had the catch, but right at the last second, Nathan Blake knocks it away. And that's the 3rd time today we've seen a ball in a receiver or defender's hands, and it got knocked out at the last second.
Yeah, that was a dangerous pass, because if obviously if he would have had the ball there wouldn't have been anyone to stop him. But like when they play that man coverage, I think they're trying to disrupt the route run, break up that timing a little bit.
2nd and 10 at the 48. King back to throw, and nearly threw a pick 6. Drew Riley, who's gotten the lesser side of things a couple of times here today, almost flipped the script.
Yeah, that's one of those that they have to bring in and hold on to if they're gonna take the lead in this game and come away with a W.
It's the 7th incompletion for King, 12 of 19. Carter has been targeted 4 times. That's most of any receiver, but Varner has been targeted 5 times, but with just 2 catches for 42 yards. Now a 3rd and long for Chicago. They're 2 for 6 on 3rd down conversions. 9:19 to go in the 3rd. King fires it middle, caught, 1st down. Varner to the Gladiator 40-yard line. And once more, the drive continues.
Yeah, just when you say E.T. King's starting to cool off a little bit, he gets a pass off like that. I mean, a great 1st down, 3rd and 10. He's got the defense of St. Louis on the ropes.
Chicago's 6-play, 32-yard drive is the current drive. Had a 6-play, 46-yard drive on their previous, and it's intercepted for the first time today. There goes Douglas. No, check that. Drew Riley past the 30. Drew Riley 20, 10. He's got it for a touchdown.
Well,
If at first you don't succeed, Charles.
They just bounced off the rope and just did an uppercut and knocked out Chicago on that one. What a way to respond.
Where is King looking? I mean, Varner is triple covered and really takes full advantage, and nobody on the Wildcats team ever stood a chance.
Yeah, that's his second second interception of the season.
Mr. Andrew Sev is Drew Riley, and he's in the chat, and he's in all caps. I made up for it.
Wow.
Yes, you certainly did. Wow, St. Louis.
That was quick.
Yes, very quick. Starts the 3rd quarter with a bang. Taking their time on the extra point. It's good. And you could hear a pin drop in here in the Thunderdome. The storm has passed, and St. Louis is up by 3. Plenty more fireworks to come. 8:41 to go in the 3rd. You're watching the Simulation Football League on 11 Sports and For the Fans. 8:41 to go in the third quarter. The Gladiators now with the lead off the Drew Riley interception return for a touchdown. 20-17. As that kick is booted away from the 10. Reed on the return up to the 27-yard line. And, well, not to put a broadcaster's jinx on it, but 3 of the 4 games to start the week, the team with the lesser record has won the game.
Wow. E.T. King threw his 11th interception, but he's a veteran. He's not gonna think about that too much.
King with 2 in the backfield. Nickel look for St. Louis. And King dropping deep. King steps up in a clean pocket, and it's knocked away. An excellent coverage by even Arthur up the near side.
It looks like the last couple possessions we didn't see a lot of involvement in the running backs here. You can't don't forget those guys.
Yeah, really surprised that Odom has only gotten 7 carries for 81 yards. One receiver, that's Torres, the bottom of the screen. He's got some space to work with. They'll hand it off to Odom. Odom's got a caravan of blockers. First down to the 43. That is a pickup of 16.
Yeah, that was a big run up the middle, and that's what they needed. They needed to take some of that pressure off King.
You know, Improta loves to hit people, but there for a while he didn't know what sport he was playing. There was nobody there to hit, and then finally able to pick up that first block to spring Odom for even more yardage.
Yeah, big tackle by Evan Arthur as well. I mean, he was taking it to the house if he got past Arthur.
Improta not used a lot in the ground game in the Chicago attack in terms of actually carrying the football. King pump fake deep down the middle, and he thought he had Carter.
He
but,
did.
Yeah, Douglas, excellent. Gets that hand up there and swats it away.
Yeah, a little more arc on that pass. It's easy for me to say up here, but a little more arc. I think he would have hit him in stride.
You ever played quarterback in your day? Thanksgiving, all-time quarterback, any of that?
Not with a helmet on. Let's just say that.
Not with a helmet on.
Yeah.
Well, that wipes out quite a bit of the population.
Yeah.
If that's the classification for playing football, and that's what makes the SFL so great. You never have to put a helmet on to play this game. 2nd and 10 at the 43. King checks it down. Odom going the wrong way, breaks a tackle, and Odom runs right into Shane Masters, and you don't want to run into Shane Masters.
Yeah, it looked like there was some confusion on the Chicago offense side. That was not a pretty play at all.
7:36 to go in the thirds. 3rd and 12. Another 3rd and long here for the Wildcats. King breaking down, and King is sacked again. And this St. Louis defensive front is starting to win the battle, as they have basically every week of this season. Check that. The linebacker, Chuck Diesel, coming in hot on a blitz and unblocked.
Yeah, Chuck Diesel, that's his first sack of the season, I believe. I played against him last week, and I still have some black and blue marks. He hits hard.
So the Wildcats, with Mickey McGuire, their new punter, will have to kick it away. It's the 3rd punt of the day for the Wildcats. This is Shaw on the return. Not bad from Shaw up to the 38. And, well, we'll continue to look for Nick Finch on the field, but judging by that return, I think Finch is still gimpy.
Yeah, let's hope he gets back out there in the game. St. Louis is in a great position right now. Again, methodical. Don't try and push it down the field. Just eat up some clock and try and get some points on the board, but don't make any mistakes.
Hendershot showing blitz. And he's going to back off. This is Pickler deep. Oh, it's caught over the defense. How in the world did Pickler get that ball down the field to Earl?
Well, they went on a little gutsy, risky play there, and it paid off. Over 2 defenders. That was a great pass.
Spurgeon turned the wrong way. He was on the wrong shoulder and missed an opportunity of deflection.
Well, so much for methodical.
Yeah, so much
Throw
for
that
methodical.
out the window.
First and 10 at the Chicago 39. Well, St. Louis feeling confident after the pick six. Pickler's now 15 of 19 for a $121. Pickler going to throw again. Pressure in his face. Fires it near side. Caught by Harrelson. There's the QB comparison.
Yeah, Pickler's having a great game. So far, no mistakes.
Harrelson, 5 catches on 6 targets for 40 yards. Former Sparrow. Sort of a traveler, but having a nice night.
Yeah, Pickler's got an 80% completion percentage. It's insane.
Deep drop back for Pickler. Got all kinds of time. Touchdown, Sean Harrelson! And
Wow.
St. Louis is up by 9.
Pickler says, I'll show you methodical. What a great pass to Harrelson. He was behind the receiver. It took a perfect throw by Pickler to get it into him. Pickler's I think this may be his best game of the season.
Pickler, 17 of 21 for 160, 2 touchdowns, no picks, and a QBR of 130. The number 1 draft pick. Live on television. He was there in studios, got to shake his hand, spent some time with him over the weekend. And, boy, the selection for St. Louis paying off. The Gladiators have their largest lead of the day. It's 10 on the road over Chicago, 27-17. You're watching the Simulation Football League on 11 Sports and for the fans. .6:01 to go in the third, and St. Louis has opened up a 10-point lead on the road here in Chicago. As Dorgan knocks that to the 10. Reed on the return. Past the 30 to the 31. Well, what did the community think of this matchup here today? Well, and who you got? 109 of the 132 votes went to Chicago. Chicago received more votes than any other team in the poll this week.
Wow. And I think this would be a pretty big upset here if St. Louis were to hang on.
First and 10 at the 31, 5:56 to go in the third. Deep ball again, middle is caught. Corey Carter laying out for that one, that has some choice words for Freeman Peltier, but Carter's caught just about everything thrown his way.
Yeah, got behind the defenders. Again, I mean, it looks like this is a recurring theme here for the wide receivers on both sides of the ball.
Man, that is a perfect spiral. Oh, and Peltier went for the head of Carter. That should have been a penalty.
Wow. We haven't seen a lot of penalties tonight. I think we might have cursed them, though.
Well,
see.
yeah, we'll see about that.
No replays either. Let's just throw it all on the table.
5.5 to go in the third. First and 10 at the 47. 3 receivers, 2 to the right for King. King dropping to throw. King fires down the middle, caught by Reed. First down to the 36, a pickup of 10 even. Douglas on the tackle.
The play of the St. Louis defense has, in essence, taken Odom out of the game. They're not. It doesn't look like they're even using him for screen passes at all.
Yeah, that's been really interesting here. 13 total touches for 114 yards, but we're over halfway through the third quarter already. King going long, has an open receiver. That's Reed. Caught it over the other shoulder and spins to the 15-yard line. Really on the stop, but Chicago's offense not laying down.
Yeah, he had his the defender beat on that one. A couple steps behind. That was a great vision by King to see his open wide receiver and get that ball out quickly.
Left a safety not knowing what to do. Odom was wide open in the flats.
Yeah, you had to pick your poison.
Yeah, exactly. Pick your poison, and King picked the right player. First and 10 at the 15. 4.5 to go in the third. St. Louis up by 10. King fires, caught That's down to the 3-yard line and a first down. Ryan Yosef, signed in week 3, moves the chains.
Very impressive drive so far. Very impressive drive. You know, this is, let's see if they can finish it up.
Wow, back and forth we go here from Chicago. King now out of the gun with split backs. I don't think we've seen this all day from them. King to throw, hits Improda, and Improda ran out of room. 2nd and goal coming up.
Yeah, I think that play was too long to develop and didn't give Improda good enough room on the field there to catch the ball and turn up.
Nice to see him getting a touch, though.
Yep, definitely.
What would you do here? 2nd and goal from the 3.
I would run it.
To Odom.
Of course.
4 minutes to go in the 3rd. 2nd and goal at the 3. Torres at the bottom of the screen. Goal line look here for St. Louis. King drops back to pass. Pump fake now. Back in the end zone. Couldn't drag the foot. Torres, the intended target. That was close.
Let's see. See if we get the red hanky out.
Might be worth a look. That would be all your fault, Charles. It's you.
Thank you. There we go.
Well, there's one commentator's. I don't know if you can really call it a curse, but we definitely called it.
Depends on where it goes.
Yeah, that's true.
And what side of the red hanky you're on.
Let's take a look. I know he had 1 foot out, but did he drag anything?
Yeah, he was out.
No. Well out. Yeah, Varner's not going to win that challenge.
It was worth a shot. It was worth a shot.
Here's a scoring play. It's the 4th time these two teams have met here in Chicago. It's 3rd and goal. The last time was September 16th, 2018.
This could be the defining play for the St. Louis defense here.
From the 3, King open and thrown out of the back of the end zone. King led Davius Reed way too far, and Chicago's only going to get 3.
Well, they're at home. What do you think about them going for it here?
I don't know. I think when you're in a shootout, which it seems like Chicago and St. Louis are in right now, you just got to take points when you can get them.
Just thought I'd throw it out there, see what you say.
Sure.
See what chat would do.
I bring up, yeah, exactly. See if the Hornets wake up once again. 3:54 to go in 3rd. We love our Hornets.
I think Andy bit on that one.
19-yard chip shot is up and good for Chicago, 27-20. We'll take a short break. St. Louis has the ball on the other side when we come back. You're watching the Simulation Football League on 11 Sports and For the Fans. .351 to go in the 3rd quarter. It's a 7-point game alongside Gerald Smith on stats. Charles Doherty, my analyst. I am your play-by-play commentator, Cameron Irvine. On a beautiful Sunday from Chicago. On the return, this is Shaw up to the 22. Remember, St. Louis doing all of this without Nick Finch, who left the game with an injury.
Yeah, and perfect game so far for Johnny Pickler. He's got a 130.2 QBR.
You know, Chicago hosting St. Louis today for the 4th time. They've only hosted one other team in their franchise history 4 times. Let's see if the chat can figure out who that might be as Dawson picks up 2. Your trivia question of the day. Only hosted one team more than 3 times besides St. Louis. Who's the other team? 3.5 to play in the 3rd off the Dawson 2-yard run. It's a 2nd down and 8. Dawson's up to 115 yards on 17 carries.
That was indeed a run. I was mesmerized.
You were not. Dawson trying to mesmerize you here. Picks up 6 to the 30. Hoff and Spurgeon combine for the tackle.
Yeah, Diesel's been running. You know, when he gets an opportunity, he's been running it very effectively.
3 minutes
He's
to
got
go.
a 6.7 yard per carry.
Hey, St. Louis will take that every day.
Yep.
3rd and 2 at the 30. They're going to give it to him one more time, and he gets a first down. He's been tough in the middle on those 3rd and shorts.
So hard to bring down.
Let's get back to the chat for the trivia question. Crazy 8 says Queen City. That's wrong. Coach Craven says Sioux Falls. That's wrong. Shan says Atlanta. That's wrong. Vancouver Legion says Indy Charleston is my guess. That's wrong. Tom Rahman says I say Oklahoma City. That's wrong. I just like giving people a hard time. Houston is the team that they've hosted 4 times because they hosted it in the playoffs as well. This is the first time they've hosted a team 4 times all in the regular season. 3-yard pickup for Harrelson, 2nd and 7.
Yeah, so far so good. I think from a offensive game plan standpoint, they're not trying to push it down the field now that they've got a 7-point cushion.
7 receptions, 76 yards, 8 targets, 1:55 to go in the 3rd. St. Louis methodically trying to move the chains. Gives it back to Dawson on 2nd and 7. Picks up 5, 3rd down and 2. And do you give it to him again on 3rd and short?
I would at least line up like you're going to and maybe do a swing pass or a short out pass.
It's really surprising that Dawson has 3 catches and Odom has 5 today.
Right.
That was a big storyline for us coming in, and it really has not materialized. 3rd and 2. 83 seconds left in the quarter. Trap play. Dawson, he is smothered by Craze in the backfield, assisted by Hoff. But Craze blows the play up at the line of scrimmage, and St. Louis's drive will end right there.
Yeah, Dawson, it doesn't look like Dawson has a lot of speed left to right, so, he didn't have enough time there to get to that hole. They were just waiting for him and closed it down.
If you want to participate in the chat, you can at twitch.tv/FTFnext. We've got tons of SFL Nation in there right now, and we also have tons of players playing on the field right now there as Reed calls for a fair catch at the 31-yard line. To keep up with how your player and team are doing this season, visit simulationfl.net for standings, leaderboards, and sortable team stats. The Rookie Big Board is there too, tracking the next superstars of the SFL. And there are plenty of them. Get those check-ins in, folks. 51 seconds to go in the 3rd quarter. King has the ball back down by 7. Has a chance to tie on this possession. Deep drop. Here comes a late blitz. Everybody's manned up down the field, and what a throw! Torres over the top of the defense. Just his 2nd catch on 6 targets.
That was just silly.
Awesome.
That was silly.
Oh, great camera work here.
Unbelievable.
Right over the outstretched arm of Even Arthur.
Yeah, again, that was a very small window to get that ball in.
40 seconds left, 3rd quarter. Strong side, left side. Handoff, following the blockers, Odom. Only got 2, though. St. Louis clamps down pretty nicely. Nathan Blake in on the tackle.
You just don't want to be too predictable. Got to mix it up.
The chat wasn't really surprised by the Houston comment. I think they were upset with me for calling out their failures on the
It
air.
happens,
Me calling out failures on the air or the chat?
Back to the game.
King, last play of the 3rd quarter, and a dangerous ball nearly tapped back into the field of play by Chad Nevels, the slot safety. And with that, put your 4s up. Chicago down 7. They have the football. And we're back to Chicago in a moment. Start of the fourth quarter here from Chicago. Gladiators lead by 7, but the Wildcats have the football. Still 3rd and 8 here for King. He's just 19 of 33, only 58% passing. Dime look here for St. Louis. Let's see what they throw at him. 4 wide for King. King in some trouble off his back foot. It's caught at the 40. Wow. What a throw to J.C. Torres as King had pressure bearing down on him.
Yeah, you know, that's got to be frustrating for the St. Louis defense. They had the offense dead to rights. Good coverage, decent pressure up the middle there, and that was just an unbelievable pass by E.T.
And the defenders are right there. 252 now for E.T. King on the day. Carter's got 76 of those yards. Varner with 54. But they have 4 receivers over 30. 1st and 10 at the St. Louis 40-yard line now as Chicago tries to tie this game. Outside, Carter. They say he did not get a foot in bounds. I don't think it's worth a challenge.
No, it's definitely not. I mean, so far, like you said, the secondary of St. Louis has been tested a lot. 35 attempts, and they've been hanging in there.
2nd down at the 40-yard line for Chicago, trying to improve to 5-2 on the season. Back to pass, King again. He says same play, except
right.
Hey, you run it, JC, and it picks up
Your
4.
turn.
This will be the 11th 3rd down attempt for Chicago. St. Louis making them work.
Definitely making them work. They got to get that. St. Louis has got to get that stop here. Get the ball back, knock out some clock time.
Not a single offense this week has scored over 30. Both these offenses have 20 today. The pick 6 is the difference in this game right now. King, deep drop back on 3rd down. Got a nice block at the end of that play. I think that was Odom who picked up the pass rusher, and Carter gets the 1st down.
Yeah, great route run by Carter. He made a great move on the defender there to get some separation.
9.5 and counting. Plenty of time for the Wildcats to operate. Nickel look for St. Louis. 3-step drop, quick slant, Carter. Carter to the 18-yard line. 7-yard gain, Diesel on the stop. Carter, 6 for 94. He has been really impressive today.
Yeah, it was pretty crafty there. They were going left, right, all the way down the field, and they snuck in that middle pass.
2nd and 3 at the 18. In the red zone now for Chicago. This has been a close game. The largest lead by either team today has been 10. Odom up the middle on his 10th carry. Gets to the 10-yard line, an 8-yard gain. Tackle at the end made by Arthur, but Odom's still feeling it, and he hits his average.
Yeah, that good run up the middle there. Decent blocking, but Odom just does what Odom does. Finds the hole, takes it into the next level, 1st down.
Shout out to Mikey Improda getting the replay graphic to give him a shout out on his terrific block. 1st and 10, just outside the 10. Chicago can get a 1st down without getting a touchdown. King looking for somebody to get open late. Pressure! One-handed catch by Corey Carter!
It started off with the offensive line. We said that both of these teams give up a lot of sacks. Not on that play. Perfect protection for their quarterback. Gave E.T. King plenty of time to survey the field. Found the open receiver, and a wonderful acrobatic catch there by Corey Carter.
That's a top play nominee for the week, and Anthony Cece will come on for a very crucial extra point with 8:20 to go. It is anybody's ball game.
Yeah, hold on tight.
Extra point for CC. Late snap, but it's on its way and good. And we're all square. It's a new game with 8:20 to go. 27-27. Don't go anywhere. You're watching the Simulation Football League on 11 Sports and For the Fans. 8:20 remaining. The 2-4 St. Louis Gladiators and the 4-2 Chicago Wildcats playing another down to the wire. The winner of this game takes the lead in the all-time series. Right now, it's tied at 3. This is that Earl on the return. That would mean that Finch is back in the ball game.
That's great news, St. Louis.
Huge news for St. Louis, and I think maybe Charles they tied the game, and Chicago did, and Earl and Finch said, "Okay, that's enough.
There you go.
You got to get
Just
me back in, coach."
Staple the arm back on.
Staple the arm. That is that is a blue tent situation. Don't show that to the public. First down and 10 at the 23-yard line. 3 in the backfield for Pickler's Gladiators. The handoff goes to Dawson. He's blown up in the backfield for a 2-yard loss. A.J. Barnes, the safety, gets involved.
Yeah, there was a whole cast of characters in that backfield right at the snap. Man, Diesel had nowhere to go. Great defense by Chicago. This is going to be a big test for Pickler here, the rookie. See how he can respond.
The road has not been favorable to the Gladiators. They have played easily their best road game here today, arguably maybe their best game of the season considering the opponent. Pickler, deep shot. It's incomplete. Finch was the intended target, and Jesse Vick covering him like a glove.
Definitely like a glove. Bordering on, I mean, there wasn't a penalty there, but he was just about as far as he possibly could without drawing a flag.
3rd and 12, not the situation you want to be in, just off your defense giving up a touchdown. It's the 53rd offensive play for St. Louis, 3 of 9 on the day on 3rd. Pickler, pressure, and he's sacked. An 5-yard loss. And the sack comes by way of number 91, Raymond Jones III.
Wow. That's his 6th sack of the season, and it came at the right time, stopping the St. Louis drive in their tracks.
You know, it was the right idea, Charles. You tried to step up and out of the pocket, but just right at that moment, Jones III escaped.
Right. Well, maybe he would have stepped up.
Both defensive lines mean a great deal to this squad, as St. Louis will have to punt it away.
Great field position, too.
Wow, up to the 48-yard line of St. Louis. And the Wildcats have harnessed the momentum.
Yep, they are in the driver's seat.
Odom is fresh. 107 yards on 10 carries with a touchdown. Carter's up to 100 yards with that touchdown catch. 7 for 103 in a touch. First down, King still throwing. King steps up, and it's dropped and into the hands of Colin Douglas, who's still running basically back to the line of scrimmage. That ball, it looked like it might have been a little behind the intended receiver, but it was dropped right into the arms of Colin Douglas.
Yeah, Colin Douglas's 4th interception of the year. Shut the drive down. They needed to do that, get the ball back to the offense, and see what Pickler can do. You can also scratch your head a little bit on why they're pushing it down the field like that when they were in the driver's seat.
Carter was the intended target, but yet another bang play on a catch jars the ball loose. This time it finds Douglas, who was right place, right time, and St. Louis has the ball back near midfield. Handoff, Dawson running middle, and Judas Sessi puts him down. Wow. Another tackle for loss in the backfield for Chicago.
The Chicago defense hasn't missed a beat. They barely finished their juice boxes, and then they're back out on the field.
And Dawson's yards per carry quietly going down here. Now 5.7, 23 carries, 130 yards. He's been ineffective in the 4th quarter. Pickler going long, took a shot. Oh! It's caught at the 28-yard line. Pass hauled in by Harrelson. What a dime from Johnny Pickler.
Dime by Pickler. A.J. Barnes looks like he was, took a risk at going for the interception and not the coverage, and the ball fell into the hands of the wide receiver there.
Barnes a little late getting there. I wish we would have gotten the view from Pickler's angle because he got annihilated. Still able to complete the pass up to 188.
Yeah, big-time pass.
Gerald Smith on the money with the live stats, 19 for 24 now. QBR 127. I formation, 6 minutes to go in the fourth. Pickler dropping back to throw. Throw in a corner route into traffic. Incomplete. Vic should have had it.
Where are the halfbacks?
They are just non-existent.
They're rolling the dice, man.
They are.
I'm sure this game isn't played in Las Vegas.
No.
Holy
That'll be
mackerel.
tomorrow night.
Oh, yeah.
Great plug, Charles.
Wow.
Vancouver takes on Vegas to start the doubleheader tomorrow. And then Mike Daggs, Matt Wilson have the game of the week. Baltimore and Jacksonville. Two teams 500 or above. Pickler fires. Dawson wrapped up in the open field. Maurice Spurgeon. And maybe one of the reasons why we haven't seen too many passes to the running backs is that both of these teams are just so tremendous in the open field tackling.
Extremely fast.
And tons of weapons on defense. There are, 5 to watch in each secondary. They really have loaded them up for both sides. Third down and long again here for Pickler. Out of the empty backfield, 4-man rush, great pocket. Pickler deep into traffic, incomplete. Whew. So this will bring up, as that pass intended for Scott, this will bring up Judah Dorgan, the Week 4 signing, 2 for 2 on the day, and this would put St. Louis in front.
Yep, out comes the rookie. Big kick. And no, Mike, it's not a punt.
I'm not sure that Improda even remembers
No,
that he
Dags
called you
keeps
a-
putting.
Oh. Yeah, Dags is, he lives under a bridge sometimes. He's a troll is what I'm getting at. 43-yard attempt for St. Louis. Good. Hits the back of the net with ease, and the Gladiators have the lead back. They were up by 10, coughed it away, and now retain the lead by 3.
Yeah, great kick there by the rookie.
Coming up next, the Atlanta Swarm visit the Seattle Tyrants, going from east to west as Seattle and Zach Sandlin try to turn things around against the red-hot Atlanta Swarm and BDG Hollywood. It should be a running back clash for the ages. Dags isn't sure what he did.
He knows what he did. He can't hide. Well, under the bridge, you said, right?
I'm losing control of the situation. 5:09 to go. There's Odom's numbers.
Yeah.
Chicago down by 3 through an interception on the last drive to Douglas. King to throw again. Outside, falling, making the catch though, is Ryan Yosef, his second grab of the day.
Yeah, I think they're going to give that to Chicago all day. But you know what? I would make use of it. Just dink and dunk down the field. Don't try and go for the grand slam.
2nd and 7. 2 in the backfield. Nickel look for St. Louis's defense. They're going to hand it off to Odom, running behind it. Broda, and Odom didn't need him as he bulls over a defender for a first down to the 39. And I think Chicago would love it if they could just burn all this clock and win the game on a walk-off.
Yeah, that's. I think that's a smart thing to do. Try to do that at least.
Nathan Blake, the man punished there before Riley and Douglas bring him down. Douglas and Riley, the two interceptors of this game. Pickler has not thrown a pick. Shotgun, split backs for King. 4:12 to go in the fourth. King to throw. King looking for, I think that was Torres, and miscommunication, it looked like, in a number of spots on the field.
Did he even turn around?
No. Receiver didn't even turn around. That was a bizarre play.
Yeah, that was very odd.
King now 25 of 41 passing for 286 yards. I think that was Torres that ran that route. They're looking for PI in the chat. I really didn't see one down, at least down the field. Maybe on another receiver. Hand off to Odom, and Odom is crunched, but not after he picks up 7 yards. 9.9 yards a carry. You could just feed this guy all the way into the end zone.
Definitely. And got a lot of options here on 3rd and 3.
30-27, 3:46 to go. 4 receivers for King. King quickly over the middle, caught. And that's Torres again. They're running a little, almost like just a spot route to Torres. I mean,
in the seam
immediately.
Yep.
Getting him.
It's hard to defend against.
Oh, yeah.
Especially when you're doing a 5-yard cushion.
Getting him in the slot on a mismatch.
Yep.
3:18 to play. Clock ticking away. St. Louis looking for a major stop from their defense. Handoff. Odom didn't get anything. That's the best. In fact, that's, I think, the first tackle for loss of the day for St. Louis, and that's Masters again. He's had a masterful game.
he definitely has. He's the leader up there on the front line.
2nd and 10 from left over, 48 yards.
Second down, 2:48 and ticking. King to throw, middle,
Wide open.
caught, and a first down to J.C. Torres. You know, what's interesting about the strategy for Chicago is it's almost like they're putting all their eggs in this basket. They might run out of time if, in fact, they cannot get a touchdown.
Well, I mean, at a minimum, I think they'll be able to tie it up. Give them another shot on the field. But and I know they want to get in the end zone.
In terms of getting another possession is what I mean after this one. 2:16 to go, but you're right. 1st and 10 at the 38. King got to take care of the football. Fires it into tight coverage, but Varner able to box out Blake and make the play. King up to 310.
It was like a power forward move right there.
It was. 2 minutes left, and we take our final break. St. Louis trying to hold on for a huge upset in Week 7. You're watching the Simulation Football League on 11 Sports and for the fans. A nail-biter, Charles Doherty, here in Chicago, 30-27. It's been one heck of a game all day long. Gerald Smith on stats, Charles Doherty, our analyst today. I'm Cameron Irvine. King, throw, nearly intercepted. That would have been potentially ball game as Blake came out of nowhere, 3rd down.
Yeah, they were expecting that. Maybe they need to mix it up a little bit there on their pass routes, but or maybe run it as well. They still have plenty of time to get a couple runs in, I think.
Download the ScoreStream app and follow your favorite team for live scoring updates. When you aren't able to catch a game live, you can follow just your team or the entire league. The first esport league on the app, ScoreStream. 3rd and 3 at the 31-yard line of St. Louis. Odom to the right. King going to throw. King looking middle. Caught by Varner at the 18-yard line. Oh, this is getting scary.
When you get the ball anywhere near Varner, he just battles in to get that ball in and bring it in. He's a hard man to defend against.
Varner now has 75 yards on 5 catches, 10 targets. 90 seconds to go. St. Louis has all 3 timeouts. Hand off to Odom. Odom past the 15 down to the 11. 2nd and 3. And if you're St. Louis, when do you start thinking about taking timeouts to make sure you get the ball back?
I think we're past that point. Once they got on the other side of the 20.
Well, you think they just don't take him at all and they just hope to get the stop?
No, I would start taking them.
Oh, okay, I got you. I got you. 1:05 left. On the 11, 3 backs in the backfield, handoff Odom. Odom inside the 10. Odom down to the 5. Now no huddle. This is a good formation here for Chicago.
Yeah, I think they got a mismatch personnel-wise. They can keep running it up the middle.
St. Louis has to watch the middle here. 50 seconds left. And look at King taking his time a little bit. Handoff Odom. Ash Odom down to the 1-yard line. 42 seconds left.
That's very smart.
St. Louis still has not taken any timeouts. They're looking to get the stop. 2nd and goal at the 1. Handoff Odom. He's not going to get in. Third and goal at the 1, and Chicago still not taking any timeouts. 26 seconds to go. St. Louis trying to get a goal line stand, and they got it. Colin Douglas makes the play in the backfield, and Chicago's going to have to kick a field goal.
That was the tackle of the game. I clearly thought that they had the advantage. Those last two plays, the defense of St. Louis just rose up and shut it down. Great job.
Wow. But again, why not call a timeout? Now you only have 22 seconds. I mean, they did get the stop, and now they got all 3 timeouts for their offense, but wow. Chip shot from 19 yards away for CeCe. High snap, but no pressure, and the kick is good, and now we're tied at 30.
I'm speechless.
That was an amazing. I don't know if you
very
noticed.
exciting 10 seconds.
I don't know if you noticed, but it looked like St. Louis audibled into goal line.
It did. They shifted over.
Yeah, they shifted over into goal line, and they made a very smart adjustment in the moment that it mattered the most to keep this game alive for the Gladiators.
Yeah. A huge tackle by Colin Douglas as well.
Here comes Earl. Past the 20. And now with 15 seconds left, probably should have just taken a knee or let it go to the back of the end zone. 23 is the yard line. St. Louis only needs a field goal. That would put them about 44 yards outside of field goal range. So they're going to need something, probably 2 plays.
Right.
2 big pass plays if they got a chance.
Or a big mistake on defense.
Or a big mistake on defense. Straight back. Pickler flips it out to Dawson. Ooh. What is that? And the Gladiators have to burn their first timeout. That's not what St. Louis was looking for at all.
Yeah. We've got 11 seconds left. Oh, my gosh.
11.
Is that enough time if they do a deep pass for them to get down there and spike the ball? Well, even a timeout.
Well, yeah, they take a timeout. I think it is just long enough for them to, get into field goal range and then be able to call a timeout. But it's close. At the 23-yard line, same formation here it looks like. Nickel look for Chicago's defense. Pickler this time takes a deeper drop back, pump fake. Now goes down the middle of the field, pass caught at the 42, but 5 seconds left. And I'm not sure that the Gladiators will risk another play. Is there enough time? I really don't think that there is.
Unless they go for the home run. I mean, that's their only option, I think.
Right. I mean, if you think about it, even
5 seconds just for the route to develop.
Right. A 4-second play is not going to get you into field goal range. There is no 4-second play. And so they got to chuck it here. Otherwise, we're going to overtime. So this is Johnny Pickler, the number 1 pick in the draft in a Hail Mary formation. Trying to get the win on the road. Pressure in his face. Hit as he threw. There is 1 second left, and he'll get a chance to do it again.
Unbelievable.
Wow, Gerald Giudice in his face.
Yeah, in his face. Both lines have been very impressive getting pressure up there. Not as many sacks as I expected, but they've been making the quarterbacks work for it.
1 second. Hail Mary for St. Louis. Otherwise, we're going to overtime. Pickler stepping up. Giudice in his face.
Wow.
And OT is upon us. Giudice with his first sack, but he's been living in the backfield in the second half.
Yeah, I think he's now he's the sack leader on. No, is he the? Yeah, I think he's the sack leader on St. Louis in those 2 plays.
On Chicago.
Yeah.
Yeah. Gladiators choosing tails. First team to score in the SFL wins the overtime. And St. Louis wins the toss.
Wow.
They will receive.
Ooh.
Get ready for some drama. Overtime here in Chicago between St. Louis and the Wildcats. These 2 teams always find a way to bring it down to the wire as Earl on the return gets out past the 20, and again, not much else. Chicago's been very good on special teams. And here we go. Pickler on the field. First team to win.
Yep, this is what defines a quarterback, these overtime series. See if they can get the points on the board and walk away with a win.
First down of the 25, 10:55 here on the overtime, but the clock doesn't much matter. First team to score wins the game. Handoff Dawson, got a block. Diesel Dawson picks up 8. Great start for St. Louis in the OT. Barnes with the stop.
Yeah, they've got to be the defenses on both sides have got to be gassed by now after all the hits that they're taking.
Billy Bob Johnson pulling there. Beautiful camera work once again on that offensive line. Second and 2 at the 32. Handoff to Dawson. He's 1 yard short. Boy, if he just got 1 yard, do you try him again? I mean, Pickler has been great. 22 of 30. You just put it in his hands.
Dawson's been averaging 5 and almost 6 yards per carry, but they'll be waiting for him, I think.
Here we go. Handoff Dawson. 3rd and 1. Oh, he breaks a tackle and gets to the 39. That is a grown man's play right there for Dawson. Could have been brought down behind the sticks, but gets the first.
Man, what a play. I mean, I thought that the defense of Chicago was going to be able to run him down, but he showed a level of speed going left to right I haven't seen today.
Pickler going empty. Back to pass. Pickler down the field, caught to the Chicago 45-yard line. They are nearing Dorgan field goal range. The pass complete to Cody Scott, who's been a bit quiet today, but not on that play.
Yep, they've got the Chicago defense on their heels. I think they were expecting, maybe something a little bit, anything besides that all slant. Looks like they weren't ready for it.
Yeah, in between 4 defenders, and it looked like Hendershot just froze, and let Scott go past him. First down at the Chicago 45-yard line. Pickler out of the gun. Nickel look for Chicago's defense. The 35-yard line is the first down and field goal range. Pickler back to throw. Looking for an out route, top of the screen. Again hauled in, but with one hand by Sean Harrelson. 2nd and 5. That's Harrelson's 10th catch of the day, over 100 yards.
And it's a smart decision to throw him on a short pass there. Don't want to risk giving up the ball to Chicago.
2nd down for St. Louis. What a statement after all this game for them to go down the field on the opening drive of overtime and get some points.
Yeah, huge statement.
That's what they're trying to do. 2nd and 5. Dawson got a first down. Dawson
Power.
gets 8 yards to the Chicago 32, wearing down the Wildcat defense and asking for some crowd noise.
Yeah, I'm not sure who the defender was, but there's one guy he just lit up and blew him off his feet. Oh, my gosh. Yeah, you're going to need some aspirin after that one.
The Gladiators' methodical offense wearing down Chicago. The Wildcats have had the ball 74 plays, St. Louis 70 today, but they've had 32 passes, 27 runs. Pickler, pass caught for a 6-yard gain. They are now squarely into field goal range, and Chicago's in big trouble.
And Dorgan's warming up on the sidelines. Just don't want to make a mistake. At this point, I'd be ultra conservative, running up the middle. You don't want a loss, but don't try and pass downfield.
2nd and 4 at the 26. 3 in the backfield with Pickler. Here in overtime of the SFL, Dawson has a first down to the 21-yard line. And when do you think about just kicking it and getting out of Dodge?
I might want to run maybe 1 or 2 more.
Are they going shotgun here?
Yeah, this is what I wouldn't do, though.
Oh, boy. That could be dangerous. 1st and 10 at the Wildcat 21. Pickler going to throw. Pickler dumping it outside. There's a flag! And if that's on the Gladiators, that's going to pull them back.
It's a loss either way. I mean, even if there wasn't a penalty, he ran out of bounds 2 yards behind the line of scrimmage.
It's a hold on St. Louis. Wildcats accept the penalty. And we'll see where they're going to spot the football. Schumann called for the hold. Dawson can't believe it. It's going to go back to the 31-yard line.
Wow.
1st and 20. A sack could put him at a field goal range. I just run 3 times and kick it. Just get what you can. 4 receivers.
You're rolling the dice. Don't roll the dice.
Over a 4-minute long drive, Dawson got 1 yard. Hendershot on the tackle. Do not forget, coming up next, following this game, Atlanta goes to Seattle to take on the Tyrants, the second game of an SFL triple header.
What are we at, 47 right now? Yeah.
47-yard field goal from here. 2nd and 19 at the 30. Pickler going to throw. Pickler over the middle, caught to the 21-yard line. Spurgeon, the high of that high-low tackle, along with Barnes. The low man, 3rd and 10 at the 21-yard line. This now a 5-minute drive to open up overtime.
I'd think about bringing him out now.
They won't. 3rd and 10. Going empty.
Oh, dear.
Pickler has to be very careful in this situation. Can the rookie grow up today? Pickler going to the end zone. It's caught for a touchdown. Sean Harrelson with a walk-off ball game.
Wow. What a play. I mean, what a way to roll the dice. I mean, you and I were wrong. It's like, kick the ball, kick the ball. You got lined up in that shotgun, and my heart stopped.
Johnny Pickler had some stones, and that was a stone's throw right there from Pickler. The number 1 pick gets the victory for St. Louis, and that is probably the biggest resume-boosting victory for the Gladiators in a long time. They have won now more games than they did last season.
Definitely, that overtime drive by Pickler is a resume-defining drive. I mean, he was perfect. 126 QBR, 77 completion percentage, no interceptions. What a game! I mean, this is as long as he shows some consistency here, we've got an potential all-pro quarterback.
Pickler finishes 27 of 35, 265 yards, 3 touchdowns, no picks, QBR 126.5, and he only has 4 interceptions in 7 games. Isn't that right?
Yeah, unbelievable. He doesn't make a lot of mistakes out there. And
that's crazy.
God, the odds were against him, though, in that last drive. He definitely went to the well a lot. I think that St. Louis has had some up and down points of the season. Maybe this is something to help build some momentum and get a couple back-to-back wins. At this point, you need to really finish strong to make it into the playoffs.
King goes over 300 passing yards today in a loss. This one's going to sting for the Wildcats. They have now lost a game on a Hail Mary and on a game-winning touchdown in overtime. Chicago easily could be 6-1 right now, but now they're in the thick of the pack.
Definitely. I mean, this is a huge win for St. Louis. I mean, everybody in the league pretty much thought that Chicago was going to pull away with this one, but St. Louis has a lot of fight in them, that the defense is solid. They've got a quarterback that doesn't make mistakes, and they've got a bruising running back.
What an outstanding ball game. And I mean, you gotta feel great for Pickler and this Gladiator squad. They really are. You start to get a feeling they really are starting to turn this franchise around.
Oh, definitely, and they've hit their 20th franchise win as well. So they hit that milestone. This is a big day for St. Louis.
Seattle and Atlanta come up next by way of Washington. Don't go anywhere. Kickoff in about 5 minutes. Your player of the game, Sean Harrelson, catches the game-winning touchdown, 11 for 134 and 2 TDs. From all of us, Gerald Smith, Charles Doherty, the rest of our SFL crew, this has been a presentation of the Simulation Football League. We'll see you right back here shortly.